Hi guys, welcome to Amelia B's Crafting World. I'm Kathleen. Amelia B's had gone to get a dress made and then she decided she needed to have a hat made, but she will be back next time. I don't know why. She's just feeling the New Year's spirit and wants to be pretty. We have a lot to talk about today. We're going to be doing some glass fusing. There's things we need to discuss. We do. So I'll see you in just a minute. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas, holiday season, all the things. I'll see you in just a second. Guys, we're going to fuse glass, but I want to talk about some things. So we're going to cut glass, we're going to fuse glass to an extremely high temperature. It is all sharp, it is all hot, it is all dangerous. But if you're careful and you kind of follow the instructions and all the things, you'll be okay. But I want to go through some of the equipment. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about the glass. Now, some of you may know that I do use glass quite a bit in a lot of the things that I make. So what I have here is just one box of bits and pieces that I can use. I'm going to take out this green piece right here. It's dirty, it's dusty, I haven't washed it yet. So this is a lot of my bits and pieces that are left over. Then in this box here, what I have is full sheets of glass. Now these are smaller full sheets. Look at that pink. Oh, look at the iridescence on that. It's beautiful. Now this box is layered. There's a lot of different colors in here and a lot of different pieces of glass. I also have full pieces of glass, large, like just big. So we have our glass, and this is a glass cutting tool. We want to dip it in oil, and then we cut our glass, and then we turn this tool around, and we hammer it, and the glass breaks to the size I want. And a little bit further down the road, you'll see an example of how that works. A lot of people wear gloves. I don't. I'm pretty confident. Do I cut myself sometimes? Absolutely. I absolutely do. But it's okay. This is one of the things, playing with glass is one of the things I'm passionate about. So a little blood here and there on myself, I'll be all right. What we're making today is something special for me. On the Withering Cottage, which is on Tuesday night, 7:30 Eastern time, I have what's called Mom's Minutes. My daughter Ariana does vintage and antiques, and she has a wonderful sense of style, and she picks out some really beautiful, unique, and interesting items to share with everybody on Tuesday nights. And then I have my Mom's Minutes where I sell things that I handcraft. You can see behind me, this is something that we'll be working on in the future. These are some journals I made that I hand bound. We'll be doing a tutorial on that at some point. I'll give you another example. I love this one. But my favorite one is this one. And again, I hand bound them. So on Tuesday nights, I have two opportunities where I sell some of the things I make. And I really wanted to make something special. Obviously, Amelia B is a doll that I make that I am passionate about. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have an Amelia B cottage that I could share with everyone? Sorry about the dogs. Are they done? Guys, we'll take a minute. Anyway, I thought it would be fun to make an Amelia B cottage that I could share with everyone. So a friend of mine gifted me a kiln that goes in the microwave, and I'm going to show that to you now, and you'll see more about it in a little bit too. It's this little kiln that is made specifically for the microwave. It comes with a tray. I don't put the tray in the microwave. It comes with gloves so you can handle it, and it came with little pads that you peel off, and it goes in here. So we're going to fuse glass. That comes at a really high melting point. This thing is going to be hot. You don't want to touch it. You don't want to touch it. You'll see in a little while. I put it in the microwave after I put my piece in here, and I microwave it for 3 minutes, and I look just to see how it's doing. There's nothing I can really do about it if it's not doing what I want it to do, but I can decide if I want to continue with that particular piece. Typically, I'm going to microwave mine from 4 to 6 minutes because the pieces I'm doing are so tiny. So this is going to go in the microwave. My piece is going to go here. I'm going to put this on top, and I'm going to put it in the microwave, and you'll know when it gets to the melting point because in here you're going to see a bright orange glow. Again, you don't want to touch this. You will burn your hands off. I'm not kidding you. It is extremely hot. Don't do it. Just don't do it. I have gloves that came with it, and I want to show you an example of what happens. I had a bit of an incident the other day where it was just too hot, and it literally melted holes in the gloves. So I just want you to be aware that this is a great project. It's fun to do, but you have to be cautious. You just have to be cautious. So the first thing we do is we cut our glass. And as I said, I'm making the Amelia B cottages. And I cut a square, and you'll see that. This is a square. And then I cut a roof. You can see it's wonky. I wanted these to be wonky purposefully. I have tools where I can make everything extremely precise. I want these wonky. Then this is a little door. So I'm going to put this in my kiln. I'm going to center it. I'm going to put it in the microwave. I'm going to go 3 minutes. I'm going to kind of look to see if this is glowing, but I'm not going to touch it. And then I'm going to do another, depending, 2 to 3 more minutes. It just depends. You get a feel for it too. Then after that, I'm going to leave it in my microwave for about 2 hours until I can handle it. Sometimes I can handle the kiln, but I can't touch the glass. So I can take the whole kiln out and put it somewhere on this little stand until it's ready for me to handle. So this is, I want you to see the sharp edges of this. This is what it looks like when I'm putting it in the kiln. You can see all the sharp edges. And this is what it looks like when it comes out of the kiln. So I'm going to show you a little video I made where I talk over it, just so you can get a general idea. The most important thing about this particular craft is that you just need to be careful. You need to be safe. You just have to be very cautious of what you're doing. All right, I'll see you in a minute.
So what I'm doing is I am taking a beautiful piece of iridescent white glass, and I'm going to cut it with my cutter to make the base of my house. Naturally, I dropped it, but at least I had it. So there's that. So I'm going to slide across the glass, and then I'm going to turn it over and hammer it, and I'm going to have the base of my house. Now, it's a little bit wonky, but that's what I want. I want it to be a little wonky. I want it to look like a little cottage-y fairy tale land thing. Now I'm going to take this piece of glass here, and I'm going to cut a triangle out of it. Again, I'm purposely going wonkiness on it, and I want to have that wonky little roof. I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to use my B7000, and I'm just putting the teeniest, tiniest amount in there so that it will hold it in place, the little roof in place. So when I'm finishing up the process, everything will be where I need it to be. I'm going to push this up so the little corners on the edge of the glass don't show. When I show you, it's going to slide down because of the glue. So I'll get it ready on a flat surface, and it'll dry and it'll stay where I want it. Now I'm going to cut a piece of glass for a door. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And when we get through the rest of the process, you'll see what I'm referring to when I say it doesn't matter if it's wonky when the glass fuses. So I'm going to hammer this one more time. There we go. Again, I'm going to use my glue and just put the tiniest little dollop so that little piece of blue glass will be a door. Yep, that's what we're doing. There we go. And I'm going to let that dry for a little bit. And then we'll be able to go on to the next part of this. As you can see, I've been making a few of them. Okay. So this is my microwave kiln. And I am putting a piece of, I don't know, I guess I want to call it fabric down. And it comes with the kiln, or I buy it separately. In this particular situation, I'm able to fit 2 pieces of my glass work. And now I'm going to put the dome on. And then this is going to go into the microwave. I'm going to set the microwave for 3 minutes. Typically, I'm going to do this for anywhere from 5 to 6 minutes. But I want to do 3-minute intervals. And on this particular one, I noticed that it just needs to be the 6 minutes. So I'm going ahead and I'm letting it go for another 3 minutes. And there it is, spinning a little bit. The hole in the top of the dome will glow a bright. That got cut off. The hole in the top of the dome will glow a bright orange. I'm going to let it sit in the microwave for about 2 hours before I can handle it. It's just best to do it that way for me. I want you to look and see how soft that glass is. And like I said, everything's a little bit wonky. But I like that. I like that wonky look to it. I obviously have, well, you wouldn't know that. I do have tools to make things straighter and more symmetrical, but in this situation, I didn't want to. So here's the other one. Look at that roof. I just think it's great. And on the other one, the door was on the side, which I don't mind at all. It just sort of ended up where it ended up. This is, that last piece I showed you was one that I hadn't kilned yet. And you can see the sharpness of the lines and the difference between the two after it's been kilned.
Not to mention, one of the things that I do when I'm putting my glass together is I use my B7000, which you saw, and I'm just putting a dollop in there just to hold, just the tiniest amount of glue, just to hold everything in place, so when I'm moving it around in the kiln, it's not going to get off kilter. Now I'm going to tell you, sometimes it gets off kilter. And for instance, this one. See how the bottom, the door slid to the side and it came down? I'm going to have to sand this. I'm going to have to either use my grinding machine or a hand tool. I kind of like this. It's kind of fun. So things happen and you just have to try to do the best you can with it or discard it. I don't think I need to discard this. I had a couple of pieces I've had to discard, but I don't think I have to discard this. I think I can sand this. When they come out of the kiln, we're going to sand them anyway around all the sharp edges. There's still going to be some sharp edges, and it's just a matter of doing this until you get rid of the sharp edges. Not a big deal. Just have something down under you, Probably to have eyewear isn't a bad idea. Some people need to wear a mask. I don't think that's even a bad idea. But we're just going to sand it and get the sharp edges off. No big deal. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint them. Now you've all seen me paint. I'm happy. Let's just do it. Let's just paint one. Hold on a second. I decided to move my camera just so you can see. Let me move the kiln a little bit out of the way. Okay, here's my water. Look at this. Y'all are going to be so impressed. Here's my brush. My paints are over on the side here. I'm going to paint this one. I want to give it some little windows. I found that for this particular project, I like the windows white. Now, if I were doing something, a different kind of scene, I might use black. I mean, obviously, I can use any color I want. But I thought in this one that the white really stands out. So I'm just going to make 2 little squares. This is how I have designed this. I'll show you a trick in a second. I just want 2 little squares. That's like it. So on this one, it's a little wonky. So I'm just going to clean my brush, and I have just a tiny bit of water on it. And I'm just going to come across to remove a little of that paint to straighten it up a little bit. I might even go in and do a little bit of a second coat just to really make it pop. Sorry, sometimes when I'm doing the itty bitty things, I can't talk and chew gum at the same time. I think that makes it pop. Now, because I'm making a cottage, I want to have vines coming up the wall. So I'm going to take my little paint palette, and I'm going to put a little bit of white. These are so small that I don't need a ton of paint. I just need a little bit. Now again, I want to remind you that I have sanded all these pieces. I still have to sand the one, but I sanded them all when they came out of the kiln. So I'm going to try to hold my piece, mix a little bit of my green with my white, and I don't worry about mixing them perfectly together because I kind of like the streakiness. And I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to make kind of a swishy line. And I'm going to come down here and just sort of make swishy lines. I can grab a little bit of my dark green, come up this way. See how the white, whoa, and the green are sort of mixing together? Okay. And I want to come up here. I think I'll even come up on the roof a little bit. Down here. I'll come up over here and just make some more swishy lines. Now I'm going to take just my my dark green. I want just a teeniest amount of paint on there. Teeniest. And I'm going to make some little leaves. Which is just, I go out, I come in. I go out, I come in. I go out, I come in. That's all I'm doing. Okay? This is tiny. This is not a big piece, so our paint job just needs to be tiny. So I'm going to take a little bit of my red paint. I don't need much. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to even put this on my palette. I'm just going to shake it really well and take whatever paint is in the lid. Again, I have a clean brush. I'm just dabbing it into there just a little bit, and I'm going to make a small circle. Then I'm going to make another one. We've all made dots before, right? See, this isn't hard. Now the paint I am using is enamel paint. The benefit for me to use enamel paint is that I can paint on this tiny little glass piece. I can then bake it in my home oven, my regular oven that I cook in. I put it on a piece of tin foil. I set my oven at 300 and I bake it for 30 to 35 minutes. There's all the red I want. But I want to give it a little bit more dimension. So I'm going to go into my pink enamel paint. The green and the white that I used was also enamel paint. So I have my pink. And I'm going to clean my brush off real good. And I'm using the lid again. And this time what I'm doing, and I think if I do this like this, let's move this. I'm going to sort of go right next to the red dots that I made. It gives them a little bit more dimension. So I do also want to say that this project is time consuming. So you just have to be patient with it. Okay, let's look and see how that looks. I think that's so cute. You see? Do you think we need a doorknob? Let's get just a tad of our black paint. Again, I just need the tiniest amount, so I shake my paint, and I'm honestly, I'm just gonna go into the lid. I'm gonna find this where I want my doorknob. I think I want to put like a window on the door too. That way Amelia can look out if she wants to. Because this is Amelia B's cottage. So I'm going to grab some of my white paint and I'm just going to follow the lines. And we have a little peephole door. That's it with the painting. So the next step is that I'm going to bake this. I'm going to put it on a little piece of tin foil. I'm going to preheat my oven to 300 and I'm going to put it in my oven, my regular oven that I use, for 30 minutes. Then when it comes out, let's see if I can find an example for you. When it comes out, it's going to look like this. So it's difficult to see, but it's a little bit dull. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to, let me go get my acrylic thing. It's made acrylic gloss. This is that acrylic gloss paint, or the acrylic gloss varnish that you see me use a lot. I'm going to seal it, and I'm going to put a tiniest little bezel on it using my B7000. Let me show you the bezels. Here's the bezel. I'm just going to put a light coat of that on the pendant, and then I'm going to add a bezel. And it is now a pendant. Bail, it's a bail, it's a bail. I'll show you some
It's
other
just, it's a
examples in a
bail,
second,
not a
but I think
bezel.
I'll show
It's
you
a
how to do
bail.
bezel. All I do
It's
with
called
the
a bail, not a bezel. I
you can
knew
see
my
there's
brain
this
wasn't
little-
functioning right when I was doing this.
I mean, there's 1,000 ways to do a bezel. I'm going to just put some of my glue, my B7000, on this bottom part of this. What can I use? Let me get my tin foil. I'm going to put this so it's facing up, and I'm going to take just enough glue to cover that bottom part of the bezel. You know, and now all of a sudden, I'm doubting myself, and I'm thinking that's not called a bezel. Well, we're going to call it a bezel. Let's do this one. And I'm going to lay wherever I want the center to be, or you can do it however you want. And I'm going to lay this on here. And I'm going to have to let that sit. Let's see if I can show you. For 24 hours. It's going to slide because of the glue. For 24 hours. Now, that is glass fusing. So you're using a whole lot of different things. Do this. You're using a whole lot of different skills on this. And again, it can be done. You just have to be careful. That's all. So you just have to be careful. So here's one example. Here's a second. These are some that I need to, this is the one we just painted. Here's another one with a little orange. This one's a big old one. But do you see, again, I was talking about the wonkiness of my glass. I love this one. That would be even cute as a pendant, and or in a little wooden stand, or as a sun catcher. It's a little small for a sun catcher, but it's still pretty. Then I have an itty bitty one. And then here's this one. Some of these I still have to varnish and things, but I wanted to show you. That's what we do. I thought I had a bird to show you that I made. Here's the bird. This is one that I posted on my Instagram. It's on a beautiful piece of iridescent glass. I just cut the glass so it sort of looked like a bird shape. I added a bead for the eye, and then I hand painted it. Went through all the same procedures. First I put it into the kiln, and then I took it out, and then I sanded it, then I hand painted it, then I baked it, then I varnished it, then I put the bezel on it. I think that's lovely. I like the sizes of these too. And they're not sharp because I'm sanding them. Well, guys, we did it. I think you can do it. Again, you just have to be careful. You just have to take your time. You just have to be cautious. These little kilns are, I mean, they're not like a few dollars, but they're affordable. The acrylic paints are affordable. I mean, I know that when you're doing a project and you're first getting all your supplies, it can add up. It can add up, but, doing what I do, I have things like, first I had the paints, and then I received the kiln as a gift. I had the glue because I use that for, you know, so it can add up if you're having to buy everything all at one time. But I want to thank you all for all the wonderful comments. I want to thank you all for pushing through with me. This is a little bit different of a video, but I was in a different part of the house at my kitchen. I noticed I really needed to clean my microwave, which was embarrassing. But I have really not great eyesight sometimes, and I didn't know it was so bad until I saw it when I was filming that little microwavey part. Oh, well, I told you, we're not scripted over here. Yeah. If I don't see you soon, Happy New Year. And I want you all to be safe, warm, filled with love and family and friends. I'll talk to you later. See you next time on the Amelia B's Crafting World. Bye, guys.